Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, October 11th, 2016 meeting of Grand Blanc Township. I'd like to ask for approval, before we ask for approval of the agenda, I'd like to have everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Bennett, would you lead us?
Sure. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now I'd ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Going on, is there any public comment?
Only one public comment tonight. Ed, 7212 Water Road. Hey, I noticed on the agenda for Thursday, we have item B, a new international truck. And I noticed the letter to the board. It basically says that the primary use of this truck, $200,000, is for snow and ice removal. I would just hope that we're keeping a good record of how much it does cost for plowing snow and ice removal, etc. So we can get a good handle on that cost, and maybe someday let the people know what it really costs this board on the general fund money to plow snow. And maybe be able to present it to them if they're happy with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we have the pleasure of hearing from Colin.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all again. If I may approach, I have a presentation. Give you a few on this end. I'm passing down. Take one, I'm passing down.
Oh, okay.
Does that work?
That's okay. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Again, thank you all for your time this evening. I've had the pleasure of meeting several times with the committee regarding the defined contribution and 457 RFP that you guys recently put out. And I was asked today to just talk about some of the high points about the MERS plan that if you so desire to move forward with, we would be able to provide for your employees as it relates to the defined contribution and 457 programs. I won't go through this entire thing. I know you have a busy agenda today, so I just want to kind of hit on some high points. I know when I was here a few months ago, we talked about MERS and who we are, and so I think we're all good with that part. But just to talk about some of the reasons, why you look at us for the defined contribution and 457 business, on that sort of second page where we talk about we provide one-stop access to all kinds of things related to the defined contribution as plan governance, administration, portfolio management. We do your employee educational information sessions. And one of the key things that you'll see throughout this publication is that MERS is the fiduciary of these plans. And so that's very important for you because that really dictates a lot of the decisions that we make and the services that we provide for our participants. If you flip to the next page, you can see that we touched on this a little bit in the presentation to your committee, that this is something that is getting more and more press these days, and about how important it is to understand who the fiduciary of your plan is and what exactly that means. And that there have recently actually been some high-profile lawsuits related to fiduciary responsibility and ensuring that the investment options, for example, are prudent for the types of things that your participants need as it relates to making retirement investment choices, and ensuring that they have accessibility to things like target date funds and, I'm sorry, totally. They have access to different types of investment accounts that pertain to what exactly their needs are in order to help prepare for their retirement. Okay. As you will see, we talk about in this presentation, as I had mentioned previously, that with MERS, we actually, our retirement board takes on the sole fiduciary responsibility of the plan. So that relates to the plan document and ensuring that that is in compliance with any kinds of laws and regulation changes, and again, in the investment compliance and making sure that the investment options that we are offering are prudent for defined contribution and 457 participants. Any questions on that piece so far? Yeah?
So you have degrees of fiduciary responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something, I see, several levels. Do we decide on what level of responsibility we want you to have? or-
No, this is just explaining as far as different retirement plans, what your degree of fiduciary responsibility could be with those different types of programs. MERS falls in with the green area where the plan provider is in fact the fiduciary of the plan. And again, so that means that we're responsible for the plan document and all those things. But what you have as far as ability to make decisions within your plan is, for example, the plan design options. So what is your employer contribution? Are you going to have vesting cycle associated with your employer contributions? Do you offer your participants to have loans? All of those types of plan provisions are still up to the township to decide. It's really just the more like regulatory things that we would be responsible for.
Thanks.
Yeah. Some of the other things that we talked about with the group were regarding the investment menu. And so I won't go into that too deeply unless you have specific questions. But what you'll see is that MERS has done a lot of work as it relates to our investment menu for participants. And when investment became something that a lot of individuals had to start getting into with the prevalence of the 401k type plan, the original school of thought was just give participants tons and tons of options, and then that way everybody can have something that will fit their needs. And what has actually been found over the more recent years is that when you give participants really large investment menus, it kind of paralyzes them from being able to make choices. Because a lot of times they say, I don't really know the difference between this type of an investment and this type of investment. And when you're giving me hundreds of them, and I have a job and a family and all these other things, I don't really have any time to spend in order to determine which one of these investments makes sense for me. And so within the MERS investments, we've actually pared that down because we feel like quality is more important than quantity. And so that way people can make educated and informed decisions because we can help them understand a smaller menu that still has options based upon their specific needs. Any questions on that piece?
That sounds good. Yeah.
So the next couple pages just talk a little bit more in detail about those investment options. If you do go ahead and approve this program, I will be offering to come out and meet with the participants and go into those different investment options on a much more deep basis so that they can have a full understanding of what is available to them within the plan. The other thing that we find is very important is the straightforward costs. So we have always made sure that any...
Can I just, so the option portion, so basically it's high risk, low risk, medium risk. I mean, are they self-directed accounts?
Yeah, so they will have investment options. There's about 23 different investment options that are available, but they fall under different categories of really how deeply involved they want to be in making investment choices. So the first category is like our target date funds. So where they're going to pick a time horizon of when they want to access these monies, and then it's going to go into a diversified portfolio that rebalances from more aggressive to less aggressive, or they can pick a balanced portfolio. So they could say, I want 80% stocks, 20% bonds,
Right.
or they can kind of build their own.
Okay, so that answers, because I was thinking that, like, you could go to open an IRA with Scottrade or Fidelity and then manage your own account
Correct.
individually, but here you can't. I mean, you can only within the parameters of the, let's say, 20.
So within, the categories 1 and 2 are within the MERS options, which is intended for most individuals to have that kind of smaller investment menu. But then there is a self-directed brokerage account. So those individuals who want access to many more different options can go through that as long as they have at least a $5,000 account balance. So we try to make both options available in case, because there are kind of those, few individuals who really do get into the deep weeds of investing and say, hey, you know what, I have this specific, investment that I want to be in, and they may be able to find that through the TD Ameritrade brokerage window.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
So moving on to the next section about costs, we find that being very straightforward with our costs is a very important portion of our program. What you'll see here is that we have always been completely upfront and transparent as far as our fees go. We don't have anything hidden, and we are very competitive when we have looked at our fees versus other types of carriers in these programs. We can clearly show everyone our operating costs, custody and record keeping costs, investment expenses, and if there's any fund company rebates, we actually send those back to the participants within those funds. Because as MERS is a not-for-profit, we're not trying to make any kind of money for shareholders or anything like that. You'll even see if you flip to the next page that over the last few years, we have actually found ways to decrease our costs. And whenever we've been able to do that, we have passed those decreasing costs on to our participants. So our goal is to continue to grow the pool and find ways to continue to be more economical while still making sure that people are making the kinds of returns that they should be making in the investments that they're choosing while reducing their costs as much as we possibly can. Some of the other things, like I had mentioned, is related to your participants. We feel like participant engagement in their retirement plan is one of the most important things because they're the ones who are going to be making decisions when they have availability to deposit additional funds or to make investment choices. That's what's going to really drive these accounts so that they have enough money to be able to retire when hopefully they want to and you want them to. And so we will do participant education on site as you would like us to. We can do multiple shifts, evenings, daytime, whatever works for your participants in order to ensure that they get the answers that they need. We do also host other things, so if for some reason the township said, no, this is not really a good time for us, we have a lot of other things going on, we host things called like pizza and planning, which are done in a local area where it's in the evening. We provide pizza and pop, and people can come with their spouses and get the same information that we would give on site in the event that you don't have something going on here. So we try to make ourselves accessible in your local area as much as we possibly can. And then of course they can always come to Lansing if you want to go for a road trip and come visit us out there as well. So I pretty much kind of rolled up the next few pages. The other thing that we're working on, which will be coming out hopefully early next year, is the Big Picture Annual Retirement Report. And the idea behind that is to provide a rolled up report to you, the board, about all of the programs that you are actually utilizing through MERS. So your defined benefit participants, your defined contribution participants, everything you have going on with your retirement funding vehicle, having all of those different items available to you in one report that shows how well prepared does it look like your defined contribution participants are? How about your defined benefit participants? And what kinds of ideas and suggestions that we have and ways that we can help you and your participants in these different programs. So that will be coming soon, so that's why that was mentioned in this last page. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I went through with the committee. Was there any other specific questions that you had that I could help answer? What are you thinking?
Great, yeah. Questions, or comments?
One of the reasons we asked Colleen to come tonight is because after the Employee Pension Committee reviewed, we had 14 proposals to go through. They selected the top 5, went through. And a couple of key points that Colleen talked about tonight I think are very important in this ask is that the fiduciary responsibility is really a key. Most of the other plans we looked at left us at least as some responsibility in fiduciary responsibility. Now, we read about lawsuits every day for somebody, but possibility does exist, which would make the township liable. We're asking employees with no particular experience or expertise in investments to decide those investment options for everybody else. So it does open us up to some liability. I think MERS coming in and saying we are the fiduciary of the plans is really a key, and it was one of the things that set them apart. The other thing that was key here was their fees. They're very upfront about the fees, and as we saw, and Kathy could speak to this I'm sure, but when we went through the presentations, it's one of those things where you get answers back a lot that say, well, it's complicated.
Yeah.
Are we getting all your business? Are we getting the 457 too? Are we, because that would be a different fee structure if we were getting that too. But if we're only going to get this, it looks like this. And we can't just show you a number where when MERS comes in, they give you a presentation, they say, here's our fees, we're the fiduciary, here's what the plan looks like. I mean, it was just, it was very clear cut. I think that went a long way towards the proposals as well.
Yeah, we feel like that that's very important. We're not trying to coerce you into bringing all your business. We want your business, but we want it because it makes sense.
Participants feel a lot better.
It's good, yeah, otherwise their fees are changing on them all the time.
Yes,
If I could just ask,
Mhm.
Gary,
yeah.
you said we narrowed it down, the committee narrowed it down to the top 5?
Correct.
And so MERS is in that 5, or where does that?
MERS was in that 5, and on Thursday night's agenda, you'll see that the committee's making a recommendation to the board asking to move forward with MERS. And I think Kathy can certainly answer more questions for you. I didn't go through all 14 proposals, she did. I waited until they got it down to the top 5. But when you look at the top 5 and the varied presentations, and I'm not saying that we didn't see some very good proposals or presentations from all of the groups, but I concur with where the Employee Pension Committee came with the recommendation to move those funds to MERS.
Okay.
And I want to
Yes.
say that I've been impressed with MERS, so I would have absolutely no problem,
Mhm.
voting
Yeah.
for them. Because I think they look after our employees.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the committee for all their hard work going through those 14 proposals, and thank you for your presentation. It's very well done.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful evening.
Kathy, anything that I needed to add?
No, I think that was it. You touched on, between you and Colleen, I think all the highlights were covered.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Short, concise, and
Sweet.
complete. Thank you.
I'm curious, how many of these people that put in bids were nonprofits? Are there
3 of
others?
them were.
There
3
were?
of them,
Oh,
yes.
okay. That's good. They're the ones offering pizza. The
Right.
people making the big money are saying, come for our steak dinners. Bring your family.
Yes. Well, then you have to raise
Come let us
fees.
take more of your money. Trust me, that steak's
Yeah.
not free.
It definitely isn't. Going on, with review of the annual general fund and special fund budgets, revenue fund budgets.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We talked about this as we get ready, and on the agenda for Thursday, you're going to be asked to set the public hearing date for the fiscal year 2017 budget. We did do the review with department heads at the last meeting. We put it here expecting that we'd have an update because of the negotiations that are ongoing with our labor unions at this time. That lasted all day today. I don't have that updated. I hope that we'll have some updates in there for Thursday, and we're going to kind of go out based upon where I believe we're going to go. So there is no changes to the budget. That's why you get it emailed out to you. As we look at what we anticipate, the direction we're heading in, we'll try to make some of those changes, and then we'll have that out to you hopefully tomorrow, so that you have 24 hours to review it. There's not going to be big changes, but we just want to do some tweaking that are going to reflect where I think we're going to go in contract negotiations for 2017. And you guys will have the opportunity to comment on that on Thursday. Kathy is here to answer any questions that now you've had another 2 weeks to digest what we went over last meeting. If there's any other questions, Kathy or myself will be happy to answer those.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's move ahead to reviewing
Sorry,
the
Kathy.
town.
I said, sorry, Kathy, nobody has a question for you.
Now we'll move ahead to review the meeting for Thursday night. And we'll start out with there's no unfinished business, so we'll move ahead to new business. And the first thing is to consider the letter of retirement from payroll and benefits coordinator Sue Saylor, which will become effective on January 7th, 2017. Any questions? Yes.
It's bittersweet that I present it. Sue Saylor has done a fantastic job as our payroll and benefits coordinator. But she has, you got the letter in front of you, and she has reached that time where she's got some outside interests that need attending to, and she just feels that the time is right. After much long and hard thought, she's decided that January 6th will be her last day here at the township, and we'll need to move forward. I did put the retirement letter here so that the board can take formal action on Thursday to accept her offer of retirement, and you will probably be asked on Thursday then in the direction that we'll be moving as far as filling that position.
Any questions or comments on this? And the next is the board shall consider DPW Director Sears' request for approval to purchase a 2017 International dump truck to replace the 1999 International dump truck in the amount not to exceed $196,000. This is a budgeted expense in the DPW capital budget. And are there any questions or comments on this? Yes.
I would recommend that I know that our DPW director was going to keep track of the cost for plowing and snow removal, but I agree with Mr. Bird, who commented in the public hearing that we should be making sure we do that, because it is a large expense to the township.
It is.
And if we could ever go to the county and plead our case to get some of that money either back or get it, towards our street maintenance in some other form, it'd be great to be able to have the numbers to be able to present to them. So I would ask that we would keep track of those numbers, and obviously 196,000 is a substantial amount towards that.
Did you have any? Yes.
Madam Chair, just kind of echoing that sentiment, only probably more eloquent than I'm going to say it. If the county's willing to pay for half of this truck, I will vote yes on Thursday night. If not, I will be voting no against this motion, or against this purchase.
Okay.
We are plowing roads for them with our equipment and our manpower and our tax dollars that the folks in this county or the township are already paying tax dollars for Genesee County to get the roads plowed. And now we're going to turn around and pay $200,000 to plow roads, which is not our responsibility. We run over mailboxes, we have to replace them. If Genesee County was out there running over the mailboxes, they'd have to replace them. So I'm not going to vote for this unless they're willing to share costs, substantially share costs with us in our road plowing.
All right. Yes.
It is a sad day that we can't afford to pave our roads, and we're doing the county's job for them in terms of snow plowing.
Well, they would do it.
If we were willing to wait.
Yeah, that's
7 days
that's the
after the
question.
snow falls.
Yeah.
That's because we do it. That's why. They wait 7 days in Grand Blanc. They punish us for
If-
plowing,
Well, it is.
Argentine don't wait 7 days to get their roads plowed, okay?
Well,
Atlas don't wait 7 days to get their roads
It takes 7
plowed.
days in Money Township, I know. 4 days probably.
Yeah.
They have a job to do. It's their priority, just like we have a job to do,
Well,
okay?
as I say, they'll do it, but they won't be in the time schedule.
We've been leaning on that for 20 years, that they won't do it unless we do it, and I'm tired of it.
People want their roads plowed, though. That's the thing. Our people want their
Certainly.
roads plowed, and they don't want to wait
I
2 days or 3 days.
Totally agree. They want their roads plowed. They want their roads plowed. The people that are responsible to plow the roads should be plowing the roads when the people want it plowed.
They should be
They
fixing the roads too, but
We
are
pay
they?
more taxes. We're the #1 tax-paying entity in Genesee County.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we want our roads fixed too, and they're not fixing
There
them.
you go. That's my point.
But
So we're gonna start fixing the roads too out of the tax dollars so that the county can continue collecting tax dollars and revenue for that purpose? And then for wherever that money's going, I have no idea.
I just
right?
don't think if there's a solution, hey, I'm on board with you.
I will give you their budget.
I've seen the budget.
Yeah.
Yep, seen it too. Got it.
Now, I'm on the soapbox too a little. I really agree with Clark and what he's saying. The problem is, though, is we have this higher standard of service that we give our citizens. Unfortunately, the county won't, and they're gonna show you their budget, and they're gonna say, oh, we can't do it. You guys can, and just like they wanted us to pay for part of Hill Road to have it resurfaced. And that's entirely their job. I totally agree with you, and if there was a way to get them to do it, other than making our residents suffer, I would love to do it. Honest to God, I'm on board. But I think for service to the community, we have to do this.
I'm going to speak to that too, just one comment, and I'm only got 3 more meetings left, so I guess I have to say it now because I've said it before. I agree with you, I agree with Jude, I agree with Chris. I love waking up in the morning and having to go to work and my subdivision is plowed. It's beautiful,
Yeah.
okay? Everybody I talk to likes that in Grand Lake. They want us to do it, so I don't want to stop plowing the snow. I agree that John Daly and the Genesee County Road Commission's not doing their share. Like you said, they're even asking us to pay for main road repairs now that are entirely their responsibility. We have zero control over, we can't maintain, but they want us to pay for the repair and resurface of them. And most other counties, larger counties in Genesee County, outside of our county, have started outsourcing a lot of their engineering and design work and stuff to lower their cost. Most other counties, and I've looked at a couple others, Macomb and Oakland to be exact, outsource their engineering to independent companies such as Rowe or something like that to get it done to cheaper. Genesee County has a staff of engineers sitting in their offices that design. 60% of their budget goes to administrative cost and overhead, and 40% goes to the roads. Whereas in other counties around, 60+% goes to the roads, and 40% or less goes to administration. So I'm sick of doing that many favors.
Madam Chair, I do have to comment to make sure that everybody, the audience and the board is clear. I didn't say stop plowing roads. I said unless they want to share in the cost of this brand new truck, of which we do not need, except for the sake or the purpose of plowing snow.
Doing their job for them.
If they're willing to share in the cost with us, I'm willing to buy the truck. My motion or my comment here was not to stop road snow plowing. I'm saying we are wrong in doing that, doing somebody else's job. Where does that end, right? Where does that madness stop? Where the taxpayers pay in one entity to get something done. Because that entity doesn't do it, then we take it on and do it, right? But what my comment was about purchasing that truck. Because if not for the fact that we were plowing the snow, we wouldn't be purchasing that truck. That's
I
my
have
comment.
a comment. I thought that truck was only good for 1 year, the one that we have now, but I totally agree with you, and if there was a way to make the county pay, I'm all for that. Can we sue them? Can we sue the county, get a township? And all the other townships in Genesee County sue the county for their fair share of road money?
Snow plowing is a part of the responsibility that comes from Act 51 money that the county disperses. It is theoretically possible to do that. However, I'm not sure what the result would be. I don't know if
How could the result be worse than what we have?
Well, the fact is that they don't have any more money.
The result
Well,
of
they
the
can
lawsuit-
cut the top administrators, they can cut the 60% of the administration and work with 20% or 30%. There'd be a lot of money there. They can just work harder
I don't want
like
to get off the
everybody
topic
else.
of the subject. We are way off topic here, but I mean, that's just my point is why I didn't buy this truck.
But just a comment on Mr. Kent's comment, and I thought he said it very eloquently, by the way. But anyways, with regard to, all joking aside, it looks like we may have some time. I mean, this doesn't have to be decided
No.
tonight, I don't believe, or Thursday night. But maybe we do send a bill and a letter to the county and say, look, you know, we're doing your job in plowing the roads. Here's the cost of our equipment. We're asking for half the cost of the truck.
Or have them pay it all and we'll do the work.
Right, but I think.
They can own the truck, we just use it.
It would still be a deal for Genesee County at sharing, at a cost share.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna have to buy that truck if they were having the responsibility of plowing Grand Lakes roads, right? They're gonna wear out their trucks quicker, they're gonna have to replace them quicker. It would be a deal for them. We're putting the guy in there, paying the benefits, or lady, and we're paying for the truck, the depreciation, the gas, we're doing all that. It'd be a deal for them to 50% share.
I think our citizens need to know we're putting the bill for something that's not our responsibility. And I think sending the bill to the council and showing
think
what this
that's a good
costs us
idea.
would send that message. And it may take asking several times, but if we don't ask, you don't get.
I think that's a good
Yeah, we can
idea.
send them the bill.
Yeah, we,
And I mean, it isn't like we're in a time crunch that we have to make a decision this week on this truck, I don't believe. If our truck currently is gonna last another year. But there might be a, Larry probably.
I can speak to that right now.
Yeah.
Regardless, if we approve this truck tonight,
Right.
it would not be built and on the road before the end of this snow season. This is a very complicated bill, I can speak to that. So we got some time on this. We have to do it before.
mhm.
So does
March,
everybody
April.
like the idea of sending them a letter with the bill?
I'm in favor of sending a letter,
I'm in
right?
favor of
You
it
can
too.
send-
They're not
you
gonna
can
pay
send
it.
a letter.
But anyways, I think we all kind of agree. I mean,
I
we're
think we
gonna have
should
to do
decide on
something.
that.
I think
we
we
should do
should
it.
also send and copy the county commissioners on it as well.
Yeah,
Well, they all know it.
yeah, but it's different to see it, you know, hey, I think we should copy the Flint Journal on it too. And the
Or we have the
TV
Grand Blanc View.
And the View.
But anyway, we've been doing it since.
I don't think we should let it go, I think we should really do
No,
this.
I'm in favor of the letter. I'm just saying, they're not gonna turn around and cover the bill this season. We're gonna have to still plan in our budget and still
Right.
figure out what we're gonna do with the roads.
Well, we have
We
a
can
truck
send
we
the bill,
can
we
use
can
for
make
a
some
year.
waves, we can stir the stink,
Mhm.
but we're still ultimately gonna have to have a plan, so.
Why isn't there an option that if townships want to plow their own roads, somehow get reimbursed for that? I mean, we're relieving the county of some responsibility and some expense.
Well, as I
Well-
say, their answer will be, we will do it. We just won't do it in the same time frame that you want it.
Right.
Because we have to do the federal
Right.
road, we're concerned to do the federal roads first, the state roads and the local roads before we do subdivisions.
The,
Maybe
And we
some
do
type
it,
of
and we do it
credit.
for a safety reason, for ambulances, police,
Mhm.
fire protection. And that's why they've done it all these years, because they want to make sure our residents are safe.
But maybe some type of credit towards, road repair in the summer, since we're picking up huge savings for them.
Well, I think we should send the bill, and then they can negotiate back, and we can keep sending it.
here's what we do. We get the people behind us, we become the city of Grand Blanc Heights, and then we have our own road commission, and we plow our own roads, and maintain our own roads, and decide on who's gonna pave our roads, and we have whose engineering company we're gonna hire to do our roads, and the county has no say in the matter whatsoever. And all the tax money that we collect, that we give to the county right now, so they can repave a road in Clio, stays in Grand Blanc. There's the solution, but unfortunately, as a board, we
Good
can't do
luck
that.
with that.
But that would solve the problem. City of Burton doesn't have this discussion. City of Burton doesn't, they plow their own. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if their DPW was bigger than Genesee County's. I've seen their trucks, I've seen their equipment, and they do a phenomenal job. I drive to work up Center Road, and I can tell you with my eyes closed, not that I do that, when I hit the line, because the road improves in the wintertime. It's salted, it's clear.
Center Road does, but we just got the Pazer
So-
report for the county, and Burton's not up there.
Their roads are much better than ours, and in the wintertime when it snows, they're cleared
I'm just
before the
telling
county
you, I
roads.
got the report, the Pazer report.
Telling you
on
what
it.
I'm not looking at the report, I'm looking at the roads I drive on.
Cities can collect a lot more taxes from the people too.
Yeah.
And I don't think township people like big taxes.
Well,
I think
get a
it's
lot better service with
Right,
it.
well, we should look at it, but we have to consider all the options to make sure that it's gonna be cost effective, and we know what our terms are.
And by the way, our property tax value in Grand Lake Township is higher than the city of Burton, so that's really not a favorable argument. City of Burton doesn't have better roads because they charge higher taxes than Grand Lake Township, because they don't.
Okay. Going on, okay, I think we've covered that. The board shall consider accepting the recommendation of the Employee Pension Advisory Committee to approve a resolution to adopt the MERS defined contribution retirement plan and authorize the superintendent to execute the adoption agreement. Any questions or comments on that? Thank you. The board shall consider accepting the recommendation of the employee, whoops, is this the same thing?
No, it's because of the
Oh, I
457.
see. Accept accepting the recommendation of the Employee Pension Advisory Committee to approve a resolution to adopt the MERS Uniform 457 Supplemental Retirement Program and authorize the superintendent to execute the adoption agreement. Questions or comments? Next, the board shall consider a recommendation from Chief Wiles to set the Halloween trick-or-treat hours from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday, October 31st, 2016.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
do you know if there's been any communication with the city of Grand Blanc to have similar, the same set of hours that you do, Ms. Joyner?
I would assume so, but I will check.
That would be, I think that would be a
Yeah.
better thing. We have a lot of subdivisions that
Yeah.
This will match the hours of the city.
Very good, very good.
Is there any penalty for being out after or before?
Do what I do, shut your porch lights off and you're not home.
Yeah.
No, I mean to the
Yeah.
kids out
Surrender
there.
50% of your candy.
I want the Snickers.
Okay, the board shall consider a date for a public hearing for FY, for federal, for fiscal year 2017 general fund and special revenue funds budget adoption. Will, anything on that? The board shall consider a proposal from the Giffords-Webster Clear Zoning to update the Grand Blanc Parks and Recreation Master Plan for years 2017 to 2021 in the amount of $9,640. This update is required to be eligible for any grants to assist in the capital needs of the park system. Kay, do you want to explain that or comment on it?
Good evening. Every five,
It's
Some
working.
nights it works, some nights it works really well.
Not used to it working.
every 5 years, we're required to update our recreation master plan in order to be eligible for grants from the state. And so, as the motion states, ours is expiring in 2017. And now that we have the greater ability of matching funds with the millage funds, we have greater ability to hopefully secure some grants. And in order to be, as I said, in order to be eligible, you have to have a plan on file.
You have to have it for the state DNR too, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's what you submitted to.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes.
Through you, Madam Chair, okay. And this is only for the by-side or Crazy Park? Or is this all?
It would also take in, the Perry House land is considered recreation property. So any recreation property within the township.
Township, okay. That was actually.
Yeah, including the
Okay,
senior
thank you.
center, yeah,
Yeah,
all
including the
things.
seniors.
Park.
Very good.
It really is looked at for the entire Parks and Rec Commission, so it's whatever falls under their purview it's about, because we're partners with the city and the schools on it, so anything included will be included in that master
Well,
plan.
then are we partnering on the costs?
This one, my conversations with Kay revolved around the fact that would the city be willing to go, are we gonna do it on an 80-20, or how are we gonna do this? One of the things that Kay brought up is they just did a $3,500, was it, Kay, for the cost of a new registration software, so for all the sports programs and that can go online and register. When that came up, the city agreed to pay that with the idea that this was coming up and that would be their contribution towards it. So I think that's probably a fair
I
ask.
agree, that sounds like a cost share, that's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about, thank you.
And they will also contribute their data about their parks and have their planner on hand when we do the public hearing open house.
I have a question. What were you gonna do if we don't approve this money? The Parks Commission doesn't have any money to do this?
This is not included in our general fund budget. In past years, we have applied for community development block grant money, and it was eligible then. And we did apply in this round, but they have now taken that out of the eligibility.
But it seems like this is kind of last minute.
Well, we've actually been discussing it for a while.
since, I think, March.
We actually got this as part of a package of proposals from Clear Zoning, along with the Tech Village and some other things, back in March. We held off on it to see the outcome of the millage request, because with the millage request funds, it highlights the importance of having your updated Parks and Rec master plan, and the fact that now we actually have some matching funds that we can dedicate for matching funds through the millage capture. So in other words, we can take that $290,000 a year and really stretch it out, because when you apply for like an MNRTF grant, for example, you get points awarded for everything that you do as part of the grant process. One of the biggest ways to get points is to up the amount of match. You got to have like a 26% match to score points. But if you can come in and say, we're at a 31%, we're at a 35% match, your points go way up. It makes it much more likely that you'll secure the grant. So being able to have that millage funds now, you know, and that's kind of where our conversation went. And we probably should have pushed it out in March and got it moving, but just from a funding standpoint, you know, it's $9,600, and
Is this going to be reimbursed? Is this going to be reimbursed from the millage to us?
Right.
That's up to the board. I mean, that's your decision to make on whether that's counts as a capital.
Yeah, I think it should be, because part of the capital project, you can't apply for these grants, which are capital projects, and so this money is being used to get to that capital project. So I think, you know, we can verify, we can have Mr. Ladd check it, but I would think it would qualify to be used some of that village for that.
Yeah, it would.
Right.
We're gonna get this money back tenfold.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna take that quarter mil that was passed, and we're
Right.
gonna get 4 mils out of it
Right.
because of this.
Right, and without this, you can't get it.
And without this, right, it's.
I understand that, I understand that.
Scott?
Yeah, okay, on this plan that we have here, I'm just looking at the timeline and costs. It shows the project kickoff September. Is that still accurate, or?
Well, it's October, so it's a little bit behind the 8 ball, but we can make up that time.
Okay, all right, I was just wondering where that was, if we were.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? That's exactly what we wanted to know.
Okay?
Thank you.
How are the basketball courts coming in? They look pretty good out there. So.
Okay, you had a question.
I want to step up for that one. Okay.
Well,
Shouldn't
until
have I
about
asked.
1 o'clock today, things were going really well. They had removed all the asphalt and brought in a machine to mill it up, and so we were going to use that as part of the base.
I'll mill
And
up
they-
some concrete.
Yep. And they had rolled it several times, and it actually had plans to pour concrete this afternoon, had it ordered. But a lot of the base apparently is not good, and some of the clay has started to come up through where the asphalt has been milled. So they called Row out, and Scott, I can't remember his last name,
Haymeyer.
and he made some suggestions as to how we can fix it, but we are not going to commit at that 160 mark. I don't know what it is yet. When I talked with Jack this afternoon, he was waiting to get some quotes from the contractor and have some discussion with Scott as to how we can proceed.
So it isn't as stable as they thought? So.
No, there's some big ruts out there, and it's from the roller trying to roll. They're bad.
Probably finding it's a lot softer ground maybe than what the.
Well, I think, you know, Jack was very surprised. He said he thought the asphalt was in pretty good condition when we were out there for the pre-construction meeting, and was surprised to see it be this unstable. So, I don't, he's not sure if all the rain that we got 2 weeks ago, because that was a lot, I don't know.
Well, it's probably good we found out now.
Yeah.
Right, but disappointing.
When might they know? When will they have an idea?
I was actually hoping to hear something this afternoon, but in the next day or two, I guess.
But it will be this week, probably.
I hope so, yeah.
Well, and if it's not done, we don't want to rush.
No, we want to do it right. I mean, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow.
Thank you.
More
It's been
good
a
news.
fun year.
In that case, I ask,
I got a couple other things.
Oh,
But I
okay.
can bring them up under my report, but
Yeah. okay, well, we don't.
I'll just bring them up under my.
That's Thursday.
That's
That's
Thursday.
Thursday,
Yeah, Wednesday,
Thursday,
Thursday.
yeah. mhm.
Is it interesting? Do we want to know?
Just different issues people have.
Mm, okay, well, those, you know, you can do that now.
Oh, it's okay. I'll bring them up Thursday.
Okay. In that case, I call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes and we're adjourned.
I don't know what to do.
Oh.
John.
It's not